Good morning, my friends. So I am particularly excited about this video because I get to finally share with you my formula sheet that I created to share with you guys so that you can, if you're like kind of new to creating 3D bouquets or even 2D bouquets, this is the kind of formula that you can just fill in, and I've used it a couple times for myself and kind of tweaked it as I've went along. But it's just meant to kind of take the pressure off of your creativity, because sometimes I've found that when I'm painting, there's a certain amount of creativity or creative freedom that I want. And then if there's too many options, it tends to get a little overwhelming and feel a little too much. So I created this formula for myself. And then I was like, there might be people in the world who do want to use it as well. So I decided to collect it and actually shine it up, make it look a little nicer, and share it with you guys. Now, technically, right now, as of filming this, I still haven't figured out how to upload it. But by the time I release this video, I'll have a link in the description and you can go and you can download it. But basically, it's just a document sheet, and I have a step-by-step list, and then I have a sheet that you fill in, and then I also have a sheet that I've filled in so that you can kind of put it next to each other. If anything feels confusing, just look at the practice sheet. So you can see kind of what's on here on this sheet. So basically, I'm just going to go through the steps and kind of tell you a little bit about them. And basically, I created this because I was noticing that I was creating sometimes really good bouquets that I really enjoyed. And other times I was creating bouquets that I didn't feel looked that good. And I studied it, okay? And I tried a couple different things. And so I think I've kind of figured out, okay, what makes a couple things good. So for step one, choose a color combination from any of these that is pleasing. And you can choose like 3 or 5 colors. I would say choose 3 colors for your flowers. For example, maybe you want to do like, let's see, like a yellow, a blue, and a pink. I find that's a really nice color combination. That's like a triadic color combination. And look, this will show you which is which, so you can know how to choose things. But also, if you are confused or if you're just bored with the ones that I offered you here, you can look at a wheel like this. It'll give you very specific guidance on how to choose colors. So basically, you can just turn it and you can see how the relationship between each color is called. Another favorite of mine is this book. I have chosen several palettes from here that I really enjoyed. One of my favorites is this one right here. I love it so much. And this would be an analogous. I learned that word the other day. I was always having a hard time saying it. But analogous colors exist. This one right here. They exist next to each other on the color wheel. So it's like, blue, purple, and pink. They're right next to each other. So after you've chosen your colors, you're just going to go ahead and fill in the colors sheet right here. And you're not going to worry about leaves at this point. There's going to be a step for those. So step 2 is to choose the sizes of your flowers. I recommend you do a large, a medium, and a small. You should play around with it a little bit. As you get better at it, you'll have a better understanding of what it is that you prefer as an artist. So definitely do that. Step 3 is you're going to assign the flower types. So for example, over here in my example sheet, I chose to go with a sunflower, a rose, and a delphinium. And then I basically just fill them all in next to each other how I want the colors, the sizes, the type of flower, and the number. You know, so you're just going across. So next, you're going, for step 4, you're going to designate a color for each flower. So that's when you take your colors that you've chosen and you just put them next to each one of your flowers. So for example, a sunflower, you would hardly make that in pink unless you're, you know, trying to do something new and different. If you're going for more of a classic look, your sunflower is probably going to be yellow. Your delphiniums can be blue, and then your rose can be pink. So after you've chosen your colors and designated them per flower, step 5, so this is what's interesting. This is one of the things that really had me tripped up in the beginning that now I'm starting to understand better. Step 5, you're going to adjust the saturation of the colors for each flower. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that, say, if you have a yellow, you know, it should be one of 3, light, medium, or dark. And then your rose, if it's pink, it should be a light, medium, or dark. And then the same with the blue, light, medium, or dark. They shouldn't all be light, they shouldn't all be medium, and they should not all be dark. So you really want to choose one light, one medium, and one dark, and then play around with that. So I went with a bright sunflower, a light rose, and a medium delphinium. So I hit all of them, light, medium, and dark. I didn't choose a dark yellow. I chose a very bright yellow. So there's that. But it still has a value shift. So after that, you're going to choose how many of each flower you're going to create. So for me, generally, I like to have the least amount of large flowers. Then the next number is going to be the medium flowers, and then the most of the small flowers. So for this sheet, I filled it in with 2 sunflowers, 6 roses, and then 12 delphiniums. But a pleasing color combination that I usually go with is 3, 6, and 12. So play around with it a little bit, see what you like. I really like to go with like 3, 6, and 12, but I was like, you know what? Sometimes I want to try something different. So for this sheet, I decided to go with something different. So play around with it a little bit and see what you prefer. So for step 7, so we've now filled in the top sheet or the top chart. Next, we're going to move into leaves, which is going to be step 7. So for this, you're going to choose your greenery colors. And I would recommend that if you are dealing with warmer colors, you would choose a warmer green. If you're choosing cooler colors, you choose a cooler green. And cool just means it's more on the bluish side, and warm means it's more on the yellow or orange side. So play around with that a bit. If you want, you can definitely have one of each. Or if you want to create more of a contrast of color, you can do light and dark. So for number 8, you're going to choose your stamens. So your stamens are going to be over here in the 3rd chart down, because in step 7, you're just going to fill in everything because you already know what to do. You already know to choose your size. Large and small is a pretty good one. Color, for this chart, I decided to go with a warm green and a cool green. And then I decided to go with saturation of medium and dark. And then I chose to do 3 of the large leaves and 7 of the small leaves. And you can just make up whatever shape of leaf, or you can find a reference for a specific leaf. I usually just make mine up, to be honest. So it's up to you how you want to approach that. And then going down to the third chart, you're going to choose your stamens. Now, normally I like to use a yellow or a green, kind of like a pale, warm green as my stamen. The exception to this, and I'm sure there are more, but my main exception for this one is sunflowers. So I did create an extra line here just in case you're dealing with sunflower centers, because for sunflowers, I prefer to go with like a black background and then do like green around the outside and then do a little bit of brush work to detail it. So that would be an exception to the normal, kind of yellow and bright centers. So for your centers, the same rule applies about, and it's a very customizable rule, I guess. I would say if you're dealing with more warm colors, stick with warm color stamens. Cool colors, stick with cool color stamens. But play around with it a little bit and see how you like it. And then I would also just adjust the saturation. So maybe do a light and maybe do a dark just to really push that contrast. I actually have a painting right here I can show you. So I actually made this a couple months ago, and there was just something bugging me about it. And what bugged me was it didn't have contrast. So what did I do? I went in with a paintbrush and I basically, into these creases, I went and I darkened them up. So this is just a very good indicator for how you can step up the contrast and why it's important, why it's so important, because it just feels so much better to me now. Before it looked very flat, and now I just feel like it has all of these dimensions. It's got layers, it's got impact. That's what I want in my painting. Step number 9, we're going to choose a background color for the canvas. Now what's exciting about this is that we're actually going to choose from our color list from our first chart. You see up here? So our colors are yellow, pink, and blue. So for the background, I decided to take yellow and switch it up because I want it to have a different value, so a different saturation. So basically, I decided to switch my yellow from a dark to a light. And you can see this being filled in the 4th chart down. Number 10, we're going to choose colors that are left over. For example, from our 3 colors, we chose yellow to be the background canvas. So we're going to take the other 2 colors, which are pink and blue, and we are going to use those as our background flower. So I like to mix them together in the bag because it creates a very beautiful color combination that I really enjoy seeing. So I still left it here in the chart as background flower 1 and background flower 2, but those are both going to be mixed together in the bag. So I took pink and blue and I designated them in there, and then I adjusted the saturations, which is step number 11. So I basically took all the saturations or all the colors from the first step, moved them to the last step, and I switched up all the saturations. Now you don't have to choose specifically which ones, just take each one and move it to a different saturation than it was previously. So yellow was bright, now it's going to be light. Pink was pale, and now it's going to be medium. Blue was medium, and now it's going to be dark. So just adjust them a little bit because you just want more variety. You want more distance and dimension and depth. And then step number 12. Add everything together and compose a lovely bouquet. So I hope you guys found this helpful. If there's any confusion, please let me know in the comments. If you need me to redo the chart or do any updates or anything like that, please let me know, because I won't know until you guys actually use it and see how you feel about it, how to do any edits. I've made it easy for me to use. I hope it's helpful to you guys. I would love to see your pictures. If you guys wanted to send me pictures of your art inspired by what you saw on my channel, I would love to make a video all about all the videos and pictures you guys send over to me. I would be so happy about that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And go make beautiful art. I love you guys so much. Goodbye.